How's it going, my dudes? Welcome back to another video. So before we begin with the team with Beretta, let's take a look at the team that I'm currently running. So here we go. I think this is kind of final for what I'm using her for, which is basically just Golem EX. What I superbly like about this team is look at unit number 3. This is perfect. So ability number 2 on Cypher, when HP for this unit is above 80%, you add 40% attack to water units. And as a main, while HP for water units is above 80%, plus 30% to fire resistance, and you add 60% to that unit's attack. And take a look at results. Ability number 1, while HP for another unit is above 80%, you add 60% to the attack for that unit. So all in all, there is so much attack that is going on here, so long as NYEllya is kept topped up on HP. And I have been asked before, what am I doing with the fire sword on Faf? Okay, so the reason why I'm using Prometheus Blade is simply put just because of this last part over here. For every 15 times a ball launches off the flippers, and for the first 10 times, you add 10% to the skill gauge for this unit. So this allows me to keep on par with NYEllya's incessant behavior of wanting to take even more turns because of her stupid abilities. So this setup perfectly aligns my skill gauges and it allows me to take my turns in a proper wombo combo. So for this DPS test, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pit my current lineup with the following Beretta lineup and see who does a little bit more damage. And I'm going to run it with the same 2 players as well, so that I maintain that one variable. However, I understand that, due to the differences in skill gauges, sometimes you may combo really nicely with each other. So there is a lot of confounding factors that's involved over here. But let's take this with a grain of salt just to keep things simple. There is not much to discuss over here except for the fact that unit number 3, right, their skills do not synergize well with unit number 1, unit number 2 for my lineup. So I don't think I've ever used my Cypher skill and then follow up with a wombo combo. That has never happened before. Not even on my slowest runs, right? Let's say even if the run drags on for 4 minutes plus, sometimes even 5 minutes depending on the pubs. I don't ever have that perfect synergy over there. So that could be a little bit of improvement. However, the wombo combo is pretty nice and sometimes I can do upwards of, I think, 5, 6, 7 million damage sometimes. And of course, I am running a selfish build. I'm not using Lethal at all. Okay, so do not copy me on this. The only reason why I'm not using Lethal is because I'm generally the main DPS when I play pubs, and I play with pubs a lot, so I generally rely on them to heal me. I do not really need so much healing. I think Razel does a fine job for me, but yeah, I'm not gonna give that attack buff to the rest of the other players. Whoops. But you will realize that with Cypher in this lineup, we actually managed to have shorter runs because the resistance down actually helps Jungwoo a lot in his direct attack comp. Or at least I think that's what he's trying to achieve. He is running a Celine, so he's gonna be doing a little bit more damage off skill cooldowns. But I think you guys get the gist of this build. Let's skip to the end. Let's take a look at the runtime. Okay, so in terms of DPS, we are falling short by quite a bit with a solid runtime of 2 minutes 45 seconds. Right, so do take note that we are not actually timing our skill gauges perfectly. We are not cloning like the Sonya clone. So therefore, it is normal to not have super fast runs. I think the story will be very different if we are all running the same team. But yeah, for now, let's take a look at the new team over here. We are going to incorporate Beretta into our lineup. Right, so for this setup, we are doing things a little bit different over here. It is highly important that we have our unit 3 to go first before our unit 2 because Shio is going to pump out a little bit of our combos. And Beretta is also going to pump out a little bit of our combos. And the reason why we need combos is, if you take a look at Elya's skill, right, uses her Hagoita to deal a Padoru, inflicting water damage on hit foes. Damage increases with the number of hits, so very much like Celti, her damage actually scales off the same way. Every single combo adds a 0.5% final damage to her damage. So with Shioe and Beretta, as long as they go off first before she uses her skill, that is another 30% skill damage, which is really big. And to add to that, it's not exactly that important, but Shioe does have a little bit of float. Like I said, it's not crucial at all for this build because we are wombo comboing. We're not going to have a lot of dilly-dally time to just float around and bounce around. But yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, so we're going to team up with Jungwoo and John Cena again. Just trying to minimize the potential discrepancies in various other teams just combining together. But like I said, it is a weak test because depending on the lineup, you could trigger certain chain combos a lot nicer together and all that. The best case is to test them up with clones, but honestly it's really hard to find people with the same teams as I have. Okay, so let's take a look at this lineup. It's a little bit more interesting than the previous one, I think, because right now we will be womboing with 3 different units. And normally I think most players, we wombo with just 2 units, right? We wombo with a Suzu followed with a main DPS. So the challenge here is to then make sure that the 3 units synergize really well. But the thing is, NYEllya is kind of a pain in the ass sometimes because she also generates her own skill gauge whenever she uses her skill up to a limit of 3 times. So that's the catch. So for this setup, unfortunately we are only going to wombo like every other time. So I think when we wombo once, the next wombo is gonna fail. Well, not really a fail, but it just doesn't wombo, so the following skill use would then lead to a wombo, so on and so forth. You will see in this run. Okay, without even a down or a break, we managed to do 2.5 million, that's a lot. And unfortunately we missed the break over here. If not, I think, wow, we could have done a lot more. So because this is a wombo combo build, I'm just going to skip to the next skill use and save us some time. So over here, Shioe is going to use her skill, which then pushes NYEllya's skill gauge all the way to the cap. So we're not actually going to use Beretta over here. So that's a little bit of a rip. Yeah, we missed out on the Suzu's buff as well. So no surprises there, we did under 1.4 million. And as you can see now, NYEllya is slightly pushed further because of Suzu. So NYEllya, she's just gonna use her skill on her own, and we will be able to see like how minuscule DPS she can do just by herself. And here we go, cast the skill on her own without any buffs. 1.2 million, nice. Okay, but more importantly, take a look at our skill gauges over here. We are back on track. So if you take a look, Shioe is going to use her skill here, and soon after Suzu is going to catch up and use her skill, which then pushes NYEllya close to 100%. But we are not going to lose our buffs over here. We're not even going to lose our combos because we have Beretta plus Shioe. Oh, Hawk save. Floating plus piercing, way to go. Okay, we did 3.5 million split into 2. I'm not sure why it's split into 2 different numbers. It's not great, but the thing is we did not use the skill on a break. That's why the damage is not as crazy as like 5 or 6 or 7 million. Nonetheless, let's take a look at the scoreboard. So for this round, we did a little bit better. I think Beretta really helps, and I really enjoy the Beretta Shioe combo. I think they work very well together. So much combos with float and penetration. That's really good. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. This has been free to play, by the way, and as always, I will see you in the next video.